Right.
But yeah, you do want to be cautious about that, but at the same time, you don't want to invest too much money. You can see about 400 crystals invested with those 4 turrets. So nothing too bad for the Terran player, especially if he keeps himself in a good economic position. But it does look like the Zerg is tuning up his income and maybe able to compete in terms of production with the Terran player. And then let's go with the army size. The Terran does have a significantly larger army than the Zerg player, but it looks like the Zerg player is researching tunneling claws for the roaches and faster overlord movement and dropping some creep around here. That's something you always want to do as a Zerg player, and you see a lot of the high level players dropping creep tumors super early, and if you watch TLO ever, dropping multiple creep tumors because it helps expand them faster, and that helps you push out on a Terran attack better. And then also something that players don't often know is that by having creep on the ground, you can actually burrow and move your roaches and have them less visible. Because if you move your roaches in open terrain, sometimes you can see that little ruffle under the ground, kind of like an invisible unit moving. But if you move it under creep, it's much harder to notice.
Yeah, I think spreading creep is really advantageous simply because you could get a better positioning, your units can get there faster. And that's the bane of all Terran units.
It looks like the Zerg player is bringing in a sacrificial overlord to scout what his opponent is seeing. And let's see what Deus sees. He doesn't see...
He sees the armory.
He sees an armory going down. Can get some upgrades in there, and... well, that's the end of what he sees. And you see Scvrush over here. This is a pretty common play for Terrans, holding the Xel'Naga tower, giving him a lot of sight advantage so he can see what's coming at him, and also building that turret so he can detect any burrowed units. So that makes that that Glial, it's not the Glial, the burrowing claws, much less useful for the Zerg unless he can take down that tower.
I'm scanning what he has. He doesn't have that much, so I'm like, I need to make a strong push right now and maybe take the game.
Yeah, and you see that Nidus network. That's something that it's annoying to deal with as another race. So if you can take out a Nidus network, it's always to your advantage as a Zerg opponent. And it does look like the Terran player has a significant army advantage, but we are seeing these burrowed roaches move out. And burrowed roaches are a very common practice for Zerg to deal with the Terran mech. Often players complain about Terran mech being overpowered. Oh, and Scvrush is pushing in right now. He's getting that scan in there. That scan is really underrated for a push. You take out all those creep tumors, you really inhibit the creep growth, and it helps your army. Oh, but the burrowed roach is coming in, getting a good surround with the Zerglings on one side, the roaches in the back. This could spell doom for the Terran player. And we're seeing the Terran player's army is dropping just as fast as the Zerg players. The Zerg player, if he can get any reinforcements in here, he's definitely going to have this battle.
Oh, he's microing his roaches right now very well.
That is some excellent micro by the roaches. Roaches regenerate so fast when they're burrowed, so you can burrow them, kind of like a stalker blink tactic, where you burrow only the very injured ones, and then you can see these roaches are quickly healing up back to full and making what looked like a very, very outmatched battle. Even coming out ahead.
I think I had a maybe 20 food higher army count compared to him, and he still took the victory, which is really surprising. I think the tunneling claws and the creep really made it so that I was completely caught off position and got sandwiched.
Yeah, those Zerglings with the creep could get to the units fast, and then the tunneling claws really, it lets the roaches get in that range gap that they have, because the roach only has a range of 3, and the marine and tank have range of 5 and 6, or 5 and 7, and so closing that range gap and getting in and firing with all your roaches before the Terrans get some chance to cut you down is really advantageous, and that's one of the major benefits of those tunneling claws, and something you can do on that open terrain, because Zerg always want to fight on the open terrain. It looks like he is just sacking an overlord to a pointless tower that he already knew was there. But he's going to come out with those roaches, take this Xel'Naga tower, take out this tower. That's just smart gameplay. If you can get that map control as a Zerg player, you always want to get it. And it looks like he's keeping up with some decent army builds, not spending his crystal and gas like he should be. Could definitely use that a bit more, and he's not using that queen larva. Oh, the Terran player gets a scan. You get that scan before the roaches unburrow, and it's just doomsday for those roaches. Oh, and then he micros away the Thor. Oh, that battle was just as bad as the other battle was good for the Zerg player.
Yeah. And
this force is pretty overwhelming moving in on the Zerg player right now. Whenever the Terran player gets 4 or more Thors, it's pretty doomsday unless you have some Ultilis or some neural parasites to really shut that down. And I don't think this Zerg player has either of those coming up right now. He's got some burrowed roaches. Oh, looks like he does have a queen right there. Yeah, these roaches, they really have to get in that range. If you're trying to micro the Thors, the whole Terran army will be shooting at you while your roaches are still just trying to move around.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be good. He took down a couple Thors there, but, you know, 3 Thors and then a load of SCVs and other units there. The army size is just tremendous advantage right now, almost doubling his food. Oh, over doubling his food right now.
I think the Zerg player kind of gave up at this point when like he saw my Thors and he doesn't have enough units.
Yeah,
it's really difficult for a Zerg player at this point, you know.
I think the Zerg player really screwed up by not spending a lot of his minerals. High level players typically are low on minerals and gas the whole time, which means they're effectively using all their resources. And then the Zerg player could have expanded to some of these bases down here earlier in the game to increase his income and increase his production ability.
Yeah, definitely the Zerg player could have used his minerals a little better, but at the same time, he had more harvester count for the majority of the game, which was really tough on the Zerg player.
Yeah, if you get behind in income, it's really hard to come back as a Zerg player. He did have some great micro with the roaches in one of that early push that Scvrush had on him, but without continuing, you know, excellent micro like that, or having other assistant units, like putting in some Hydras in there, some Infestors, maybe mixing in some more Zerglings, you're not going to be able to overcome these Terran armies, because if they stay balled up, they really have a good push advantage on Zerg.
Yeah, that's pretty much, we summed it up.
I hope you guys enjoyed this cast, and we look forward to giving you more excellent casts from pro players, as well as diamond level players like Scvrush and his opponents. Thanks so much for listening. Go to our channel, the UEN TV on YouTube, or visit our website, theuen.com, for more casts and strategies from ourselves and from our partner networks.
Yeah, okay, thank you.